I intended for this to be an hour ago, but I was preoccupied with someone staying longer than I thought they would. It is what it is. So let's begin without a further ado. Um, Hold on a second. Former Vice President Joe Biden said Friday that he is not sorry for his past actions, that some women have said made them uncomfortable, but that he's sorry he didn't understand more at the time. The fact of the matter is, I made it clear that if I made anyone feel uncomfortable, I feel badly about it. It was never my intention ever, Biden said. I'm sorry I didn't understand more, Biden told reporters following a speech at a gathering of union workers. I'm not sorry for any of my intentions. I'm not sorry for anything that I have ever done. I have never been disrespectful intentionally to a man or a woman. So that's not the reputation I've had since I was in high school, for God's sakes. For God's sake, rather. Um, what a great non-apology apology. And I remember I was watching an art. I was watching an article. I was reading a this article somebody wrote about him, and they were saying that the best way to address this is to just say, "Hey, I didn't do it. They have me mistaken, or they misinterpret, or whatever." But as Splendor Gaming said, they have the pictures. It's just funny when you sit there and you go, "Oh yeah, sorry you felt that way." you know, it's hard for me to come off as objectionable because, like I said before, he's not the person I'd call myself supporting. But even I'm still like, wow, you really couldn't just say, I didn't do this, or if I did, I'm terribly sorry. It was a horrible mistake. I apologize for putting you through this. Something that at least makes it seem like, you're in some horrible, like it's really bothering you. Let me say it with Mark, give him a greeting. I know he's very upset that he didn't get his 4 p.m. stream. He came in here to um to express his anger or frustration and whatnot. Anyway, let's get back to the news and all the wonderful stories that are going on. So that was a nice little non-apology. It was terrific. I almost teared up. This one's a little bit funnier. The Democratic-controlled House on Friday filed a lawsuit against President Trump, alleging his declaration of a national emergency to build a border wall is unconstitutional, a move that shifts the political battle to the courts. The lawsuit filed by the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia claims the president violated Congress's constitutional authority over appropriations by diverting federal funds from other sources to construct the wall after Congress provided only 1.375 billion for border security. I think is really weird is the whole point of the declaration was to get the money by going through over them, but then why does he have to ask them for the money? It's weird. But I laughed at this story because I thought when they said the Democrats are suing him, it was going to be like some big several page document. And it's like, Dear President Trump, we are suing you over your wall. Thank you. And then it's signed by like all the members of the Democrats in the House. Like it literally is all of them suing him together. The entire, what was it, like 100 people? 200, some huge number of individuals. I don't even remember the exact number. I just know that when I hear that, I would instantly think that there's names attached to it, but instead it's just this court filed this thing against him. So it sounded funny when I read the headline, and when I actually read it, like, oh, this is meh. Okay, Trump lawyer, let's see. An outsider lawyer for President Trump argued Friday that Democrats can't legally request Trump's tax returns and said that the IRS shouldn't provide the information to Congress until it receives an opinion for the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel. Caution and deliberation are essential to ensure that the Treasury Department does not erode the constitutional separation of powers or the tax code's core purpose of protecting taxpayer privacy. So that's enough of that nonsense. Like I said before, all the news stories now are just Trump, 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 Trump. To kind of give you why this is stupid, this whole tax return thing is the Democrats getting upset that the Mueller stuff didn't pan out and looking for something else to get him on, in terms of legality. Do I think that he probably did something that could be considered not the right way to go with his taxes, probably. But like I said, all the other rich people get away with doing that. So why only now as president is this something that's bothering them? Because it's an attempt to get rid of him. Um, so it's obvious to see through that. Federal judge sides with nope, nope, nope. More immigration stuff. Trying to avoid that like the plague. Well, it's like half the stories already have been immigration stuff. Like we're not even four, and it's actually we're not even five and four. Half of them have been that way. It's just, Jesus. Let's see here. Facebook struggling to deal with. People don't care about cybercrime. British police. Every time I load an article on my phone, it does this thing where you see the headline and it skips down and it goes back to the headline. British police are prepared to arrest WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange if he is ousted from his sanctuary at the Ecuadorian embassy in London. By the way, Mark, it's funny that you write that because I think I told you when I did that video, the April Fool's one, and people were like losing their minds on Twitter and on here about, oh my God, how could you say that? Like, dude, it's a joke. You see the day. Why would I one day like him and the day afterward just completely flip around? That's why I don't like doing people react too much to titles is my problem. They look at the title and start losing their minds. Officers with London's Metropolitan Police Department were stationed outside the embassy Friday morning following messages from WikiLeaks claiming that Assange would be moved out of the facility within hours or days, the Associated Press reported. Police told reporters that Assange faces a warrant for his arrest in the United Kingdom, which he has been avoiding for years by living in the Ecuadorian diplomatic compound, said officers. An officer said they are obliged to execute that warrant should he leave the embassy, according to the AP. The news comes hours after a Twitter account representing WikiLeaks cited a high-level source in the Ecuadorian government who said that Ecuadorian President Lenin Moreno, himself at the center of a corruption scandal triggered by leaked documents, was seeking to oust Assange from the embassy. Breaking, a high-level source within the Ecuadorian states has told WikiLeaks that Julian Assange will be expelled within hours to days using the Inner Papers offshore scandal as a pretext, and it already has an agreement within the UK for his arrest. WikiLeaks tweeted from its verified account. I hate reading stuff people write on Twitter because they have a little at and the stuff. Everyone just tweets breaking news now, huh? Yeah, every news story that seems to get massive attention is something that somebody posted on Twitter. I mean, if we went down all the different news articles about an individual Trump tweet, we'd be here all day. And like I said, I'm just trying to find stuff that isn't entirely about him because it's, like the world goes beyond one person. I think a lot of people forgot that when he won. But this story from yesterday was kind of funny. I didn't get to touch it because the article was written after the stream concluded. Senator Joni Ernst responded to President Trump's claim that noise from windmills can cause cancer by saying that if it were true, I'd have church bell cancer. I have church bells that ring across from my office here in DC. I know that noise doesn't give me cancer. Otherwise, I'm sure I'd have church bell cancer, she said, according to Des Moines' NBC affiliate. I would say it's ridiculous, she said of the president's comment. She added that the state is lucky to have its wind industry. Her fellow Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley, or rather her fellow Iowa dinosaur, the man's like halfway to being 90, like in his mid 80s, a day prior called the comment idiotic. Trump on Tuesday denounced the alternative fuel source during a National Republican Congressional Committee fundraising dinner. He claimed that noise from wind turbines caused cancer, but did not offer information to support his statement. If you have a windmill everywhere near your house, congratulations, your house just went down 75% in value. And they say the noise causes cancer, he said. Oh my God. Trump's remarks have been met with criticism by lawmakers across the ideological spectrum. Mark says maybe one day you could run for president and govern the country well, in addition to improving the lives of impoverished people. Well, like I said before, I would be a lot more interested in just being in Congress, but the problem is it's harder to get people to be excited about a House or a Senate seat where they would donate in the numbers that, you know, are competitive for a presidential campaign, and literally if they were used for a Senate or House campaign would just sweep whoever the incumbent is. So, it's I'll give you an example. 18 million, for example, probably isn't that much in a presidential campaign, but in a majority of House and Senate races, that would just completely wipe most of the other people that are running off the map. But that's because it's expected to be appealing to a lot less people to want to donate and actually be involved in that manner. So I'm just answering Mark's question, or rather Mark's, what he wrote, your response. I didn't mean to put a question mark at the end of it, but it sucks that it's so difficult for people to like. I always thought when you ran for something, right, you need to have a list of positions, be able to state these at any time or any point, attempt to sound as if you know what you're talking about. And it really seems at this point, if anyone has money, they can just go and do this stuff without even having any actual ideas or substance. Like if you look at Howard Schultz, he's literally sitting at a 4% approval rating and gets to appear on all these different shows because he's the Starbucks guy. Like that's crazy to me that, uh, all the coins in the world, they manage to give people these big boosts for no reason. You can be devoid of personality. All you need is cash and a name, and you've got it. What's your take on British politics compared to American politics? Well, like I said, I really like Question Time. I'm not well versed on Brexit, so like it's something I don't really try to give a position on because I still want to learn more about it. Other than if the members of Britain voted to get out to leave the European Union, they should leave because the people voted for that to be the case. So the fact that they've actually sat here for over 2 years and still haven't left really should be enough to get the prime minister to get out of there. But it is what it is. I said before that I think um, the Labour Party leader Corbyn, I'm more aligned with him in my ideology than probably 99% of American politicians. But I've given Theresa May credit for at least not being against gay marriage like a lot of these other quote unquote conservatives are. We believe in humanity unless you like the same gender, then you don't get to whatever. We've been over that before. I'm not going to reiterate my contempt for how stupid some of this stuff can get, just like the arguments people make. But yeah, it's they have enough things in common to just get back to the main point of what you were saying, to where I can kind of jump between both of them, but I just love their style of government more for the fact that they can at least say to the prime minister's face, as opposed to when you're over here and the president, whoever it is, gives a speech and everybody's supposed to just sit there and be quiet and let all the little lies and smears go on without any interruption. So I hope that answered it. I don't know. Let me see if I can go down here. Okay, they have a headline about Trump addressing the NRA conference in late April. That's and is that really news? Because it's like we already know the NRA supports him, so why wouldn't he go to their little propaganda show? Okay, Senator Elizabeth Warren slammed Republicans in a speech Friday, saying they know that if all the votes are counted, we'll win every time. And like I said before, I think I've made my position kind of clear on the Electoral College that I think it's good to have a system where the states do determine what's going on, but that there is something broken about it when the person who gets less votes still ends up winning. And I was trying to say that literally in the last 30 years of presidential elections, the Republicans only won the popular vote twice, and that's why they love the Electoral College so much, because it's the only way they would actually be able to win any of these elections other than those two times. And I think it was '88 with Bush and Dukakis, and then 2004 with Bush and Kerry. Those are the only two times in the last 30 years that they've been able to win a majority of the actual votes. All right. She says they'll do whatever it takes to stop a full and fair count. She said, according to a copy for prepared remarks to National Action Network, which I've never heard of before. And they know that if all the votes are counted, we'll win every time, which you'll win most of the time, not every time, but most of it. In her remarks to the civil rights organization founded by the Reverend Al Sharpton, Warren also referred to the disputed House race in North Carolina's 9th District last year, saying voter suppression was undertaken to rig the results. David says, even people who get less votes still win. Yeah, that's why people don't like the Electoral College, because to be fair, most of the time the person who gets the majority of the states gets the majority of the vote. But in the instances where it doesn't, it pisses a lot of people off. And they've kind of been stuck like that for the last 2 years, just being angry about this system we've had for centuries, literally. Mark says, I wonder what the next president's strategy will be when the financial crash happens next year. Let me guess. Print out more money to create more debt and interest. Hooray. Yeah, all that inflation. I could have sworn they had like a story about Trump like asking why they couldn't just print out more money to stop the crisis or something like that. And it was really funny because it was a legitimate critique. It was like, why can't we just print out more money and end this? Just last year, Republicans in North Carolina's 9th congressional district threw enough votes in the trash to rig an election. She added, massive voter suppression prevented Democratic nominee Stacey Abrams from becoming the rightful governor of Georgia, which is true. Brian Kemp is that's why I call him Tickle Me Voter Fraud. Brian Kemp over that, and Chris Kobach, those two. And what that is, that those governor races they let people go wild. They like to just screw with votes on there. North Carolina State Board of Election ordered a new race in the district after allegations emerged that workers had collected absentee ballots in 2 rural counties on behalf of Republican candidate Mark Harris in violation of a state law. During her speech, Warren also called for a constitutional amendment recognizing the right to vote. We need a constitutional amendment establishing a nationally recognized right to vote and the right to get that vote counted. Warren, I keep always mispronouncing him, one of several prominent Democrats vying for the party's 2020 nomination, also endorsed eliminating the Senate filibuster. It's really funny to think about some of the opposition to a lot of these ideas. Like, I get opposition to getting rid of the Electoral College. I get that, fully. I've seen people say stuff about not wanting, like it would get rid of places like Iowa and these smaller states from actually mattering as places where, votes take place. But my problem is that so many times it seems stuff that I wouldn't even think people would be that against. I just see like someone actually feigning like legitimate outrage. So I talked a while back about the amendment that what's her name, the congresswoman from Massachusetts, Presley, where she wanted to have the voting age go down to 16, and the argument was that if 16-year-olds can get licenses like 18-year-olds, they can work like 18-year-olds, they should be able to vote like 18-year-olds. And it seemed like a lot of people backed that, but I knew in my head that there's going to be someone who opposes this stuff and really tries to say that crap about, oh, in 700 days, the person's so radically different and blah, 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 blah. And sure enough, I went on Twitter, saw one of my, quote unquote, libertarian allies, crapping all over it, and unfollowed them. I get tired of people like making stuff that's not that big of a deal out to be some earth-shattering thing that another side's proposing. Like what the hell is going to happen if they lower it by 2 years? Are we suddenly not going to have elections anymore? Because remember, the argument is that younger people don't vote anyway. So, if they don't vote, if they choose to not vote but have the right, what's the difference? But again, it's one of those things where even with people who I saw that weren't that big on it, they couldn't care less. It just was whatever. And that's why it's a good reason of why people are so toxic about this stuff. Can humans be mad when they keep voting for the same people? Yeah. the same family over and over. I'm trying to see if I can get this charger for this computer. If not, we're gonna have to end early because I have my battery's like halfway there. Is it true in the past we had a not to my knowledge? So that's my answer. Maybe one of those historians can tell you something I don't know about. See if there's any other stories to put out here. God, the Hill is such a wonderful, nice little place to go to and look at all the different stories. And oh, this makes CNN.com look like trash. Well, CNN, to be fair, is just entirely horrible. Yeah. I'm trying to find where this thing is. Oh, okay. A group of bipartisan senators introduced a bill. No, that's Wednesday. So this is days ago. Load says CNN website is a pain to browse. You know what, Load? Since I'm such a sadist, we're gonna go on CNN.com. Since you brought it up, since you critiqued them so cruelly, we're gonna give them a chance. We're gonna go look over there and explore and check out. Mark says, "What's your greatest political debate you've ever had?" Uh, I'm trying to think. It's funny. Usually, in a lot of instances, when I try to actually address this with people, it just turns into a shouting match on one side, and I say, "All right, well, screw it." Um, I did have one person I convinced to vote for this Senate candidate last year. So when I talked to them, I gave a little bit of a background of their positions, and I had to explain why voting for someone who's never held office before wasn't such a bad thing as compared to someone who's been in there for years. I said to him, look, that person that's been there for years, name me something they've done. Like, I'm tired of these pricks being able to sit in here for decades and have accomplished nothing. Which is why I was saying that if I end up running for anything, I would literally only run to have one term and just do every single thing I wanted to do in that 2-year span if it was the House, and 6-year span if it was the Senate. Because I don't believe in staying there forever. Um, at least if I did, it would only be if I thought what I was doing was so popular, people decided to retain me, as opposed to, well, I've been in here for this term, so put me in there for another one. I think we've been over this, how people will say they don't like Congress, and then most members of Congress still get reelected anyway. So which way is it? So it was really funny. Okay, the Justice Department on Friday, I'm sorry, the Bar Department, the Injustice Department on Friday hit back at the first lawsuit seeking the full release of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report on Russian interference in 2016 election, saying in essence that they're already working on it. The Department of Justice said in its response to a transparency group, Freedom of Information Act complaint, that the court shouldn't circumvent this orderly process of Attorney General William Barr's plan to release a redacted version of the report in the coming weeks. The Electronic Privacy Information Center, which brought the suit hours after Mueller announced he had completed his investigation, inexplicably ignores the Attorney General's statements that the Department and the Special Counsel are well along in the process of preparing the Mueller report for release, and that he anticipates that the report will be released by mid-April, if not sooner. The Justice Department wrote to a federal judge on Friday. I really wish Splendora was here because he was doing that thing about calling AOC out of her name, and I've seen so many funny names made for Barr, like people saying that of stuff he looks like the person who said, "Oh great, hello Newman," when that stream started for his press conference. What are talking about these past presidents has been working hard, trying to help the people get in a world-controlled government. Ha ha ha. I'm sorry, I'm confused. I'm not doing that to insult you. I was reading it. I was kind of straining myself trying to figure out what you meant. So they're getting sued. The Injustice Department is probably gonna, not have anything actually happen to it. I thought that was really funny too. People hate these cabinet members, and I always say to them, why don't you try to get rid of any of them? You just sit there and go impeach Trump, impeach Trump. How about impeach the EPA administrator, who isn't a cabinet member, but still whatever. How about impeach the Attorney General? How about impeach the National Security Advisor? I wake up every day wishing he gets fired. The dollar may collapse in our lifetime, possibly the constant inflation. What would this mean for the financial state of the U.S.? Um, Switch over to a new currency, probably. Let's see. U.S. suspected to designate. Here's something good. The Trump administration is expecting to designate Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, better known as IRGC, as a foreign terrorist organization as early as next week, according to a U.S. official. Here we go with the Israel bootlicking stuff. Yay. I love it. Some more Netanyahu come. The designation decision, formerly under the State Department's purview, is taking on heightened importance as part of the White House's increasing aggressive strategy toward Iran. Officials have been debating whether to make the designation for several months. CNN reported in July 2018 that the administration was considering doing so. A spokesman for the White House National Security Council declined to comment, and I'm trying to think of a name to use for them. The State Department did not respond to a request for comment. They call them the silent department. Won't say anything. Just we do our evil without a press release. The Wall Street Journal was first to report the expected designation. Defense officials have told CNN that U.S. troops in Syria and Iraq often find themselves operating in close proximity to members of the IRGC. Last year, CNN reported that Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats cautioned the administration that designating the IRGC could pose threats to U.S. forces, according to one source familiar with the matter. And Coates was right. He's absolutely correct. You hear in this article that American forces are typically by this Iranian group, and then their brilliant idea is, hey, let's call the people that are right next to our people, terrorists. Mark says, in your opinion, which president had the best term while running in office? Now that confuses me. Do you mean like who had the best campaign? Who had are you asking who's the best one? I'm kind of confused. I just want to, again, clarify what you mean. 25 says Jews anti-Semitic. Yeah. So I said more Netanyahu come. Yay. Good for the flavor for the soul. More Israel bootlicking. I almost want to draw a picture of the U.S. The actual, the U.S. silhouette on a body of a dude, right? And or rather of a chick, and then the body of a body with Israel's head, Israel as the head, sticking its banana into the backside of the U. That's literally what we have now. I know that's vulgar, and you probably have a nasty mental picture now, but that's literally what I see this relationship as. We give, and we get screwed over too. Okay, Mark says, who had the best campaign and presidential term? I'm trying to think. It's so funny. Every time I think of presidents that actually made it in their campaigns, and especially in recent years, it's always what controversy stirred up. If you're asking me who I think is the best one, it's probably Lincoln, and after that, FDR, then Washington, which is what the historians usually say. And I've already said multiple times in the channel, the last one I liked was the older Bush, and that's why I had to do my exodus from other progressives, because they were all dancing on his grave a couple of months ago, and I was like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? They get on my nerves with that stuff where every time somebody they don't like dies, they have to celebrate and throw parties and get all excited. All that necromancy. Like, I'm no fan of McCain, but I did make a video talking about how happy I was that he died or any of that stupid, nonsense. And I said before, I think that whatever problem you have with that person, especially if they're a figure who is contemporary, you should discuss it or talk about it while the person's alive. All those people who made those little stupid, here's why McCain is the son of Satan himself, here's why Bush is evil. All that was done for grandstanding and views. None of it was actually being concerned about what they did, because if they were, they'd have talked about it before. And they certainly wouldn't have used their names being in the spotlight for a week or two over, dying as a manner with which to get views. It was them being tacky and nasty. So it is what it is. Anyways, getting back to the, I wonder what number 25 is laughing at. I almost want to call number 25 Pikachu because of that number, if anyone gets the reference. I hope one of you gets the reference. I'm kind of doubtful for a couple of reasons. So let me go over to the next story. The CBP terminates controversial. Say, you read about this study bill the Democrats are trying to push? No, because that's Pikachu's number in the Pokedex. That's why I called you that, or said, made that comment. I didn't just randomly bring him up. Well, Envoy is probably doing something, and VVS is at some kind of signing ceremony. He's very popular, so he gets to. It's literally like when I do a stream and he shows up. It's like, so I made this comparison a while ago where in the old Justice League comics, it would be the original team of 7 was Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, Aquaman, and Martian Manhunter. And very rarely would they use Superman or Batman in the story because they were propped up as the two main guys who had so much stuff going on that whenever they showed up, it was for something serious and big. Um, so anytime VBS shows up, it's like that tells you it's a serious and important stream, and you got to get ready. And this is the full lineup or whatever. Mark says they should come for the politics live stream. No, Envoy is really good about attending, and I don't blame him at all for not showing up because, like I said before, due to the nature of the way stuff is structured over here, I can't give a specific time of when I'm available. Usually, I can have kind of a window of when this stuff can happen, and then it's just a bunch of speculation at that point of whether I can actually make it or not. So if I say, "Oh, I'm going to do a stream at 6 tomorrow," at 6 tomorrow, I might be at a dinner with one of my relatives, as we do sometimes on Saturday, or I might be in here. It depends. It's too much stuff out of my control, basically. The custom. Oh no, 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 no. More immigration stuff. Trying to avoid it. The plague that would never go away. This headline says she blasted Trump as disgusting in 2016. Now she may join his administration. Let me see what this is. No, Mark. Former Fox News contributor Morgan Ortagus, the expected pick to become the next State Department spokesman, repeatedly criticized President Donald Trump during 2016 Republican presidential primary, a CNN review found. By the way, I love going back to Twitter and YouTube from 2 or 3 years ago when that primary was going on and looking at all the different stuff that members of Congress that were Republicans, right, said about Trump, and how, like, if you look at them now, it's like two different people. Back then, they hated him. They couldn't stand him. They talked about how horrible he was, how unbecoming he was when he said certain things. And now what are they doing? They're kissing his behind. They're best friends. They all love each other. So it's nice to see the hypocrisy. And then people keep saying, "Oh, well, they grew attached to it." It's like, no, no, no. They're all jockeying to get his supporters to vote for them so that they can run for president themselves or advance their own careers. Like, we're not stupid. We know that you don't magically change your whole worldview in 2 years. It doesn't work that way. Number 25 says fake is, yeah, exactly. And I guarantee you, when someone like Cruz or Rubio or Rand, for example, looks at Trump, all they see is his voters and 2024, 2028, 2032, any of these other presidential election years that they can reasonably conclude his influence will be over, and then they can step up and take over like Rodimus Prime after Optimus's death. That's literally what they're trying to do. Like, the only one of them who's doing it in the way I respect is Rand, because he's doing it to where he doesn't try to shift his views. Like, he's not going to magically tell you, "Oh, I'm for the Constitution, which is why I'm going to vote for the National Emergency Declaration and turn the president into an emperor." So he's the only one I can at least tolerate while they're doing that bootlicking. But you get my point. McDonald's is shrinking its late night menu. Now he's a breaking news headline. Oh, yeah, that's going to be all over the place. That's what they got to do. I mean, they eat together. It's one government. Oh, yeah, well, look, I'm not saying it's unrecognizable. No one could have seen this coming. What I am saying is I don't like this whole let's coalesce around this one person that we don't actually genuinely like and then just say screw it to anybody else. Because, look, whether you like Sessions or not, the senator from Alabama, he was genuine in his support for Trump. He started backing him before, if I remember correctly, Trump won any states. I think it was right after Iowa or before Iowa. It's like February of that election year. So he was someone who legitimately put himself in trouble, or at least on the line for doing what he did. So to see him get hated by all of Trump supporters now, it's really funny. And it shows you how disloyal they are to the people who back their guy. Number 25 says Cruz is the worst of them. He looks like he lie about what he ate during the day just to make it sound good. XD. That's why I always think about that video. I don't know if you saw it, number 25, where it's Harris, this my senator from California, and she's giving Cruz some kind of food, and they're all smiling at each other and being all buddy, 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 and it's just, I can't stand either one of them. Mark says specifically the supporters of those groups. Yeah, all a bunch of hypocrites. Look at what's her name, Conway, that woman that that used to get into trouble all the time. She was talking about how horrible he was when she was back in Cruz, and now she's his number one go-to chick. I'm sure Trump fed them some good from McDonald's and Wendy's. And we're gonna have a fast food stream. The whole stream is just gonna be me like sitting somewhere over there, and then have a burger right here, and then I'll just talk while you're staring at the burger. And then as the stream progresses, I'll take a bite out of it and put it back there. So that'll be the next one. So I can click this article. I hate when you're on a website, you click something, and it just like nothing moves. And then they tell you have high-speed internet. Jesus. This thing really is frozen. Wow. We're having some technical difficulties. I apologize. If only I could stretch my hands into the phone and control the website and make it move all smooth and lovely and with great accuracy and recurrence. Well, they tell you all kind of stuff to get you to pay for their little service. Like, oh yeah, if you get our stuff, we'll give you 2 years free of YouTube Premium, and then you go on there and you still have ads. I don't know why they make the ads seem so horrible. It's like 15 seconds. Calm down. I do get where if like when it's on smaller videos, like some that's a minute long, and then they want you to watch an ad that's a fourth as long as the video. Okay, fine, but something where it's like 2 hours and they put 3 in there, whatever. I don't care. That's just me. It is what it is. And you can easily fight back against all the stuff on this site by supporting some other platform like Vimeo or Daily Motion and getting them to, get some steam and support. But nobody wants to do that because they're not popular. Let me see if I can find this letter. Jesus, everything is immigration, immigration, immigration. All right, well, I'm gonna show you some immigration. We're gonna quit this. Literally 5 of these stories had to do with immigration. Jesus. Number 25 says, I swear 3 or 4 years ago, the internet was fun, but something happened and now everything is left versus right. It's sickening, to be honest. Everybody out there hating and blooding. Laugh my Americans set tripping hard. America set tripping. Yeah. So I said the U.S. is going to hell because it literally is everybody fighting each other over stuff that doesn't matter and then getting screwed over collectively and then not even realizing it because they're too busy blaming the wrong person. Like all these people that hate illegal immigrants can't even figure out that were it not for the douchebags that can afford to hire them and can bail themselves out of prison with all the money they have, these people wouldn't be in positions where they could earn a wage, even if it is really, really small, without, the people who hire them knowing that they're in that circumstance. What's your take in ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves? What's my take on slaves? I'm getting confused. Like, just elaborate. I'm a little confused on what you mean by that. Yeah, David, they took our positions. Yeah, everybody blames somebody else for their stuff. And like I said before, a lot of people who actually should be blamed for things are able to get away with nothing. Oh, if they want to do it, it's fine by me. Like, here's my thing. I hate talking about any racial stuff because whenever you say something that the popular opinion doesn't support, you get called out of your name. You ironically enough get called racial slurs. So it's a lot of every time I see one of those questions, I just go, no way of answering that because I don't want to give you some crap that I don't actually believe, and then I say how I feel, and then someone who I've never seen the channel at all before comes over and gets pissed because they were dissatisfied with my answer. It's like, who the hell are you? So I have no opinion. I don't know enough about that group to give a position on them. If they're doing it in a non-violent manner, I have no problem with them. Hope that's satisfying enough. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff I just don't know about, and unlike a lot of other people, I'm not going to pretend to know about it. And that was very redundant. I'm gonna have a little sentence, a little period where I just cross the word "no" out of my vocabulary and try to find other things to say. Are bothered by taking their and other they were used to benefit themselves. Uh, let's see. David says, "What are people going to do with the money anyway? It won't make." Well, that's kind of my point. That when you talk about the specifics of day-to-day life and the people that get blamed for stuff that has nothing to do with them, it makes it all the more reason as to why I don't like talking about racial stuff. Like, when I would say that going after these cops, for example, isn't going to put food in someone's, I don't know, house that is poor, and thus we should try to get them higher wages and put these in inner cities and other environments. I get called out my name, so I just gave up on it. I was like, all right, whatever. You guys can all play, go after this one person for doing something one day and let everybody else get screwed all the other days. Have fun. So I just said, all right, well, I can't win anyway. And like I said, there's a weird thing on YouTube where people you've never seen before come over and like start complaining. Like, yeah, when I did the stream on Bernie and I had the person come in the comment section and try to argue with me, it was like 2 or 3 different people I'd never seen before. It's like, who the hell are they? Where do they come from? They have a farm where they grow them and they deploy them to these small channels. They go, yeah, you sink on that one. Why not fight for that will help generate? And so, yeah, Load, that's my exact thing. But like I said, I can't say it without getting attacked. So, you know, because again, whenever you talk about something that is about the larger picture and the grand scheme of things, people just start losing their minds because they don't like to think about what the hell is going to happen in 10 to 20 or 30 years. So when I would talk about the chick stuff, I always tried to say that, you can tell me all this crap about how young you are and, blah, 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 blah. But you don't understand that if you want to do something with the person, there's a buildup to it. So, for example, let's say Load goes out and he meets some woman and they talked for 6 months and he in his head is thinking, oh, she's going to let me get with her. Yay. And then she turns out to do a 180 and, completely abandon him after that. Well, now he's going to have to start over with 6 months of his life that he's wasted. And if this repeats itself 7 or 8 more times, we're looking at 4 to 5 years of him talking to people who didn't care enough about him to even try doing the things that they claimed they were interested in doing when he started talking to them. And he can't walk away from that and get that time back. So that's why, as I was saying, too many people are caught up in the here and now to get anything that's beyond themselves or, the current era or whatnot. People are asking from the people and energy that, okay, let's see if that works. That's because you're living in a political correct system. Not even that, because, like I said, those commentators on TV who try to act like all the stuff that is said that's of an alternative view is so evil, they're not coming on this stuff looking for these kind of alternate opinions. It's people who support that having nothing to do but mess with someone who doesn't mess with people who don't support what they have to believe or what they believe. And like I said before, I don't go on Shapiro's stuff. I don't go on Levin's stuff. I stay away. I don't care. Let them say whatever they want. It's not worth me listening to anyway. So certainly not worth me sitting in the comment section arguing with a bunch of people who are like-minded to them. But again, they don't. A lot of these people on the computer just don't get the bigger picture of stuff. As I said before, I hope Lo didn't mind me using them for that example. I was just saying that all this stuff about how things are never going to change or you have all this time to do this, it's stupid. Um, but I get that some people, and I had a person who was they called themselves a psychologist, and they were saying that people will tell someone something that is directed toward that person to make themselves feel better. So if I go and tell Load that, oh, forget the fact that, again, in this example, 50 chicks have said, I don't want to be with you. The next one will say yes. I'm not telling them that to make him feel better. I'm telling that to make myself feel better. It's the same thing with people who write stuff to me. So they're just they're using you as a way of, masking their own discomfort by what's happening or trying to reassure themselves. I told them to their faces, I'm like, I'm not buying this. This isn't changing my opinion. Um, so let's see. That's because okay. Well, the internet has given cowards a platform to chat. Oh yeah, that's why I hate Twitter so much because it's literally just people writing all kind of stuff they would never say on the video. David says, "I hear what you're saying," uh, and then David agrees with Mark, and then Load says, "You're right. 90% of people who give that kind of brain dead advice only want to make themselves feel better." Well, again, this goes back to why I don't like talking to a lot of people that leave comments I've never seen before because if I'm going to write you a response and then you're going to ignore what I've said, why the hell should we continue engaging? Um, and this isn't about just trying to get the right side or anything, but if your response ignores what I'm telling you, and then, for the sake of peddling whatever theory you have, what justifiable reason do I have to give you any more attention? It's like this. It's like if Load writes an article about why, I don't know, Nixon sucked, and I say, oh, Nixon was underrated, and I list all these things that are good about him or that I think were good, but then I don't address any of the critiques that Load has in his article. How is that a response to what he said? It's posted right underneath what Load said, but it doesn't address anything he actually stated. That's my point. That it's people just grandstanding and trying to make themselves feel better. Oh, I read an article that goes against my view, so I'm going to reiterate all the garbage that, I've been told, and all the stuff that I like to subscribe to make myself feel better about this person having a position that's not my own. Yeah. They're using you to rehearse to. Like, I still can't get over the video I did on Trump getting, rescinding his earlier claim that he was going to get out of Syria, and me getting pissed off because I was happy he was doing that and he flipped, and then having this person come in my comment section and start talking about 150 million urban renewal and economy, and North Korea and South Korea don't hate it. Like, dude, this has nothing to do with Syria. This has nothing to do with any of the places we're bombing. Get the hell out of here. But again, they go on here and they try to write all this other crap down because they can't escape from the fact that the person they support flip-flopped or did something they said they weren't going to do, and they want to make themselves feel better. Because them writing that literally accomplished nothing. It didn't make me change my position. It didn't suddenly make Trump want to flip back to what he said the first time. All they did was write something stupid that got yanked anyway. So they had fun writing that paragraph, and that later got roasted by me in that stream I did afterward. But yeah, all this stuff is two sides of the coin. People want to make it seem like, let me read Mark, whether it's about relationships, politics, education, religion, or anything in general, you're always verbally lynched and insulted for having a different opinion. You are not yes man, that's good. Like I said, I just don't care. Like, all these different people that write this stuff, I don't care about a piece, and they're not watching my stuff anyway. Like, if I see someone that I've never seen in a chat or on anything else going, oh my God, how could you say this? Like, go away. We don't even know who you are. So it's just, it's not contempt. It's just, I'm done pretending to, appease people that were never even actually caring about what my position was, only just using me to get upset about something. And like I said, whether it's the chick stuff or any of these other topics, it's all based around having a universal thought pattern. If you are a man that is tired of getting turned down and you say, I'm done with this, you're going to have people call you gay, say you're going to shoot up some place, all this other crap, not because you yourself have actually said anything to indicate that, but because they need to, through you, reaffirm their position that there is a certain type of person who just can't get anybody and is destined to do all these evil things that they're claiming you'll do. Same thing with the political stuff. All of Trump supporters, they see a poll that says 93% of Republicans like Trump. They go, oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, we love our president. MAGA. But then if they see one that says 69% of Americans think Trump lies, oh, that's fake news. That's not true. And it came from the same place. But again, when it is showing something good about him, they love it. When it's showing something bad, it's not true. It's all a lie. Everybody actually loves him. They just they pulled this ball up in there. So you just can't win with these people. And I don't try to talk to them. I don't try to appease them. I just don't care anymore. They're not paying me. They're not doing anything for me. So thank you for checking us out. I hope you enjoyed the series of topics. I'll probably do a stream tomorrow. As for the time of it, I'm not entirely sure. But I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you were able to walk away from this with some sense of what the news was, and just don't buy into the crap. Like, people write all kind of stupid stuff online. It is not your job to reply or accept what they have to say. Just leave them be. And I only wish they would do the same instead of seeking out those they claim to not like. Because like I said, and don't worry, we're about to get out of here soon. Let me just finish this. Like I said, I understand not wanting to watch people who say something opposite, but to seek it out and to actually think they're going to change my mind is just so. It really does feel like it's like a communist system. Like they're the ones who go around calling people socialists, and then they're telling you can't have a different opinion from them. So in conclusion, we'll all continue to do what we want and have the positions that we want. and I'll accept you for having those. And if people don't like it, they can
suck a dick, go fuck yourself, fuck your mama, fuck your daddy, fuck your whole generation, go jump off a bridge, go buy you a ticket, fly to Japan, and lick that old bitch's pussy. If it means that much to you, faggot, shut the fuck up. No one cares.
have a good day.